Now, there are no alternates to seat. Heather can't make it, and Ed has had surgery on his knee. We wish him the best, but he's not here, and there's no replacement. Public comment. Once. Public comment twice. Public comment 3 times. Going, gone. Approval of the minutes. We all were sent the April meeting and the specials. Any comments, corrections, additions, deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the April regular meeting and special meeting.
Make a motion.
Rich?
To approve.
Second, please.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? It's unanimous. Okay, the time we've all been waiting for all week, no doubt. Comments from the first selectman.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Oh, boy.
I'm feeling substantially better since the last time I presented to you. Now, over the last few days, I've been spending some time with our Director of Operations and our Director of Finance, getting things ready to close out the end of the year. So I wanted to just give you a quick update as to where we stood with that, and I'll come back in June, near the end of your June meeting. We'll go over things a little bit more specifically. As of now, it looks like the town will be running a small surplus of about $50,000 or so. We are about $230,000 below our projected revenue, but our expenses, we've been able to tighten the belt and keep those down to about $280,000. So we are there. We'll have more specific updates for you that next month, but again, I just wanted to give you a quick update.
Have you froze purchasing, or is it just going to run?
I'm sorry?
Have you froze purchasing?
No, we're just going to let it run.
Just let it run?
Yep.
That's fine.
Doug made a lot of, our Director of Finance made a lot of projections to get to this $50,000 level, so we feel quite comfortable with where we stand. Couple bigger issues that I wanted to go through just to let people know. With our LoSEP account, right now our projected balance in that is about $300,000. With the proactive road account, which you folks had at a level of $150,000 for the 2014-2015 year, we're projecting the ability to do about $400,000 worth of roads this year, which is certainly a good thing. As you all know, we're having some issues over in the Colony Road area with the chip sealing problems that we had. We've taken some steps to try to rectify that. We won't know for about 3 weeks or so where we stand with that. Some of those roads are going to need to be redone. Public Works Director did go and get pricing for redoing those roads, so we'll have those available. But again, that's something that I'll come to you in June to discuss. One other thing of note, I'll be coming to this board in June to talk about taking out a $375,000 loan with Webster Bank, something that we would pay back over 10 years to address 2 specific projects. One would be phase 1 of the Greenway Trail, and the other would be the complete reclaiming of Rimmon Street from 67 all the way up to the town line. Both are going to be done in conjunction with state and federal grants. On the Rimmon Street project, the town of Seymour is responsible to pay 10% of about $2 million. And on the Greenway Trail, of a total cost of about $575,000, the town is responsible for paying $175,000 of that. So we've been working with bond counsel just to make sure that we're not doing anything that would not be correct. I had some conversations this morning with Bill just to kind of give him an idea as to where we were going. We're still working through the process on this, but I just wanted to, again, put that in front of you ahead of time to see if you had any questions or concerns. I hope to have everything tied up a little bit better for next Tuesday when I bring it to the Selectmen, assuming I get approval from the Selectmen. I'll bring it back formally in front of your board at the end of June, so we can start taking those proactive steps.
If I can just ask, rather than a 10-year loan, which probably you're looking at what, $37.5 a year plus maybe 1% or 2% of interest, has any thought been given to shortening the period of time?
Oh, we could.
Because I'm just wondering. I mean, I know you're going to go to your board, and say you want $375,000. Are you going to commit at that point to a 10-year, or are you going to Or are you
No.
just gonna commit to an amount?
At that point, I'm gonna commit to an amount and the
Okay.
direction we're gonna go.
Because that's something we may want to discuss, and just in theory, that as much as I'm not a big fan of fund balance use, it may be something that, and we'll take the temperature of the board too at that time, it may be something to cut down the debt side of it. So that's something, you know, we can talk about at that point, as long as the board is, as long as your board doesn't lock into a 375 loan, 10 years and whatever. Okay, that's fine. If you're just doing an amount, that's okay.
Yeah, what I want from them is their approval of the philosophy behind what we're doing,
Yeah.
and then the financial aspect of it
Okay.
would be to you guys. Again, next year in our debt service, principal and interest payments, we're projected to save about $330,000, so we have some flexibility there.
Mr. Chairman, question for Kurt?
Go ahead.
Yes, that, with the 200,000 for the River Street project, it's already committed from the state and federal, so we should have no problem committing the town part of it?
Although the project's already started.
All right, very good.
We've been going for about a year now, working with
Right.
Carlo and Dow, doing the engineering work.
Right.
It's projected to start next spring.
Thank you.
I have a question, if I may.
Go ahead.
I know in a couple, 3 years, we're going to be paying down a lot of debt or paying off some debt, and there's going to be a nice influx there. I would think that we'd be able to do a very short-term loan and then capitalize on that, on the debt free, on the debt that we're no longer going to have to pay off this $175,000. I would strongly recommend against a 10-year note, you know, given our situation in the next 2-3 years.
Well, where the 10-year note came from in talking with bond counsel, he said we can go up to 20 years if we wanted, just because it's going to be for a road and the life of a road. I agree with you. I wouldn't necessarily extend it out that long, and I'd rather be creative.
But the life of a road isn't 20 years.
I don't know, but that's
Yeah.
bond counsel.
Are they going to call it a bond anticipation note, or are they just going to be conventional?
It's going to be a conventional loan through Webster.
You may want to ask Doug if it would make a difference, because I'm only thinking in terms of, if you've got a band, then you can get your 375 up front, you can pay it down when you want and just roll it. So if you had 75,000 or whatever, and you wanted to put that down, you can refinance at least 4 times, I think. So if you had 375 and then a year rolls around and you've got however much in the kitty, you can put that on your debt, so you may be able to roll a smaller amount of debt rather than lock yourself into a loan, so to speak. But that's just something you might want to run by Doug.
Well, one of the other issues too is we're not necessarily going to need all this money right away. Some of it's going to come in stages. So we're also looking, is it possible to get, for lack of a better term, a line of credit type thing,
Yes.
where we can pull the money out. Doug didn't seem overly receptive to that idea, but those are things that we're going to work through. Again, it's with the selectmen, it's the approval of the projects
Just the
and the
amount.
philosophy.
Yeah.
With you guys next month, it'll be more the mechanics of how we're gonna pull the money out, what we're gonna do, those types of things.
Okay.
Just a couple other little small things. In our FEMA account, if you remember from the storms and things, we have about $75,000 left over in that account. The primary piece of equipment we were gonna purchase with that was a new bucket truck to allow us to enhance our tree trimming process. We had initially targeted about $50,000 or so for that, but because, you know, 1,000 here, 2,000 there, we've been able to squirrel some money together, and we're going to target getting a better truck. I'm not saying we're going to spend $75,000 on the truck, but we can bring us to a different range of truck. So Tom Amy's going to work with Sean Walsh, Dennis Rosen, a couple people like that to try to get us a certified pre-owned type truck.
Good.
So. And that's, and one last thing, with the sale of Lopresti School, something that was brought up by bond counsel, if we have any outstanding debt associated with Lopresti School, that would need to be retired first.
You have to use the proceeds.
Yep, so they are in the process of reviewing to make sure that that is not the case. When we do come before the boards with a resolution, and again, I discussed this with Bill, we're going to move the money directly into a special capital fund that is specifically earmarked for building repair. And we'll come up with an appropriate title and things like that. But we'll all work together on that, because my concern is this money falls to the bottom line and it's used to do 100 other things as opposed to address the specific needs that we have in our buildings and that are basically falling apart around us, particularly the community center in this building, so.
Yeah, I think as Kurt and I discussed a little bit this morning, it's safer, it locks the money up so it can't be used for general whatevers. If you say you're gonna put a new boiler system, heating system or whatever, and that's what you're gonna do, with a piece of that money.
We have some big needs there. But again, I'll have more specifics next month. I just wanted to give you kind of just a quick general overview and address any questions or concerns you might have had.
One other thing, apart from this, I would assume on July 1st, you're gonna move the money out of the general fund into the cap and non-recurring to get those various pieces that have been appropriated?
Yes.
Okay.
Fantastic. Oh, and again, thank you very much for all your hard work and effort on the budget. This is the first time I've officially seen all of you since it did pass. I'm sure we're all happy that it passed on just 2 referendums. Quite a nice surprise.
Yes. You're welcome.
It's just Bill left town.
Yeah, Bill, tell me, yeah.
Yeah, I was in an airplane when the vote was made, but I did vote absentee.
Attaboy.
Okay, report from the finance director. You're next.
Well, Kurt stole most of everything I was going to talk about.
Okay.
That and the transfers. One update I will give is that we do have the RFP in the paper and also on the state of Connecticut EAS site. So that's out there, and we're waiting for the bids to come in.
All right. Well, any questions for the finance director? Anything at all? Okay, moving on. Transfer requests, and we have, I think, 5 of them tonight. First one is and Chief is here to explain his, Tom Amy's here, Mr. Baldwin is here. Transfer 14, 35 grand coming out of the lieutenant's salary, going into, looks like training, Chief? Training. We've got the backup behind it, a memo from the deputy chief and the chief as to what the money was, what is to be used for, why they're transferring the money. At this point, if there are there any questions for the chief on it? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion? Hearing none. Call for a vote. All those in favor of approving transfer 14?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Carried. Okay, the next one is transfer 15 from Communications Commission, asking for $8,092.52 to do with police radios, replacement of the power site in Oxford, and Public Works main radio transmitter located at the Great Hill Firehouse for $1,400. I will, the paperwork is behind it. Hopefully everybody has gone through and looked at the invoices and the explanations. Any questions for Tom at this point? None? Okay. Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion on the transfer.
So move.
Dave? Motion by Dave, second please.
Second.
John? Discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Transfer carries. Just a lot of paper tonight, so I don't want to lose anything. Transfer 16 from our illustrious first selectman regarding some legal issues and items and line items that need to be addressed. I will entertain any questions for the first selectman on any of it. Go ahead.
If I can just add
Yeah,
one
no,
thing.
go ahead.
On the legal general side, we have about $7,000 coming back as part of a lawsuit where the person that was sued will be paying for the legal fees. So when that comes back in, it'll end up being a wash and going right back to the bottom line. But we just wanted to make sure that there was the appropriate amount of money to cover that.
All right. Questions? Any? If not, we'll take a motion on it.
Make a motion.
Rich? Beverly? Discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? And so moved, carries. And let's see. Let me sure I have one paperwork. Okay, transfer 17, again involving the police department. With transfers to cover some salary, we have behind it what looks like a running printout of the union wages. The chief is here. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Chief.
I've got updates of that you had the last week included.
Oh, okay.
The same numbers that I gave you for the one more week.
Oh, thank you. All right. This can go away. We also have from July through May, a week ago, different case numbers assigned by officers and how many hours spent, which a whole lot of time. I don't know, anything you'd like to add to any of this, Chief?
We've been very, very, very busy this year. There's been a number of suspicious deaths. We've had a number of robberies. We've had some drug cases, and we've had some fatal accidents, things of that nature. And it's really done an impact. And on top of that, we're still down 4 officers, and that's caused a major hole as far as backfilling those positions. Hopefully, we just got 2 back from the academy this week. That'll help a little bit, and then the other one will get out in December, and that should help for next year's budget. But right now, and I just disciplined 2 guys for 2 weeks each, so that's going to cause some overtime issues too.
Are we expecting for getting them back there, anything that are out on comp or anything?
I really can't get into the comp issues about it, but the first selectman and the human resources person are working on it, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward with that shortly. It's the best I can do at this point.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Other questions from the Chief?
And our year budget.
No other questions, I'll call for a vote on transfer 17, please. Take a motion.
So,
Dave, second, please. Beverly, questions, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion, transfer carries.
Thank you.
Welcome. Transfer 18, police cars. Two cars with 2 letters from Crowley Ford, I guess,
Correct.
tied into the state bid list. Anything else on this, Chief?
We'll be turning one of the vehicles over to the town. That's going to be utilized by the dog woman, and she's going to be taking that vehicle. And the other 2 vehicles are going to be traded in. We're getting rid of 3 cars for the whole year when it gets done. One's an expedition going to the supervisors, and the other's one of those utilities we just received last year. We got one. The men seem to like them. There's more room in them. They're more spacious, so we're going to go with one of those. So both of them are going into the patrol division at this time.
Any questions for the chief? Nothing? Okay. I'll take a motion on the transfer 18, 74,000 out of wages to police cars.
So moved.
Dave, and a second. John? Discussion?
Question.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none. Transfer 18 passes.
Thank you.
And let's see. Last transfer to bother us about the chief, $1,000 for supernumeraries.
Yeah, see, our supernovaries have been working a little more lately, and we're gonna get hit pretty hard. It's gonna be very close, even 1,000. But one of my offices has been working quite a bit more hours in the last month. And right now, we're 149 in the hole, so I think that the 1,000 should put us at the end of the year, the plus side, we should be okay.
All right.
That's,
Questions for the chief?
Yeah, is the supernumerary project doing better than last year? Last year,
we had, I think it was about 15,000 last year, and we used about 12. We're down to one guy working quite a bit, and one guy's getting ready to retire, and then the other supernumerary works sporadically. So we're almost going to be to the point where we're cutting out supernumeraries. It's very close.
Other questions?
and replacing them with personnel that's currently on staff.
Current what we have on staff now. Correct.
Anything else?
We're not going to terminate anybody. They'll be retired through attrition. The two that are left.
I would hope so.
I would-
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the transfer.
So,
Dave, second by Bev. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Transfer 19 is approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Transfer 19 from the building officer to
20.
line.
20.
I'm sorry, 20. Yeah, math was never my strong suit. Anything you'd like to add to it, Jim, at all?
No, the transfer, the amount is from we basically only have one inspector, that's myself. We haven't been using any other outside sources. So we've basically like to transfer money from the account of the assistant. And the reason why is we made a lot of changes in the department, and this would enable us to go on, with our computer software, and also purchase. Now that we have a one permit system, we do a lot of in-house copying. We don't go out for outside printing, so we'd like to have a color copier put in place. And also, we've gotten a pretty good deal with WB Mason on new filing cabinets, because basically our storage is pretty tough down there. We've archived everything that we could archive over the old middle school, and this would allow us to, add storage for all the files that we have to keep.
Questions for Mr. Baldwin? Anyone?
we're still keeping paper files, boxes.
Everything right now is done paper-wise, so we're just busting at the seams. With the new computer software that we've looked at, will allow us to electronically keep our files. And it's also a system that can be added on to and allow all the other departments, if they so choose. It's a user-based system that we could look at all permits through zoning, wetlands, fire marshals, and they can see the activity and the status of the permit, and we also can use it in the field, so we can, if there's any problems with the permit or something, we don't have to run back to the office, look through all these files, we can do it right on the tablet.
I would have thought we would be scanning stuff on to a memory somewhere.
We get it. We would like to have that functionality, do things to go up into a cloud, but we're working towards that.
Our permit system, just for a sidebar note that I found a little humorous myself, is I had to look up a home that was built in 1955, and it was the exact same card that we were using in 2013.
Consistent. You like that?
Yeah, we're very consistent over the years. So this will move us a little bit in, we'll do a lot more filing.
1960s or 70s.
And if I could, through the chair, this is a very big step
Oh, yeah.
for the building department. This is going to take us light years ahead of where we are now. So this is certainly a great thing. And, a lot of credit goes to Jim for coming in and kind of changing the direction of that department and moving us forward. So.
Yeah, the offices look great.
Yeah, it's nice to.
Just a question, if I may, to the first selectman's office. In terms of capital budgeting, and I can't remember this, maybe you do, has there been any provision to put a scanning system in to put our stuff up?
We're holding that until we have one true technology department,
Okay.
because the concern I have is that we have something, the Board of Ed has something completely different, and
It'll be
then
different.
we
Okay.
mischanged. So
Alright.
we're working with the Board of Education to kind of bring those services together. Once we do, then we'll start taking those proactive steps.
Okay.
I mean, that is something, as well as the camera systems, are going to be the two biggest issues.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Baldwin? If not, I'll entertain a motion on the transfer.
So move.
Dave?
Second.
Rich, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Transfer 20 is approved.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, I believe we're out of transfers, thankfully. New business. I have none, other than, as Doug mentioned it, the audit specs are out. The deadline for the audit specs are June 16th. We will have a decision ratified by the board at that June meeting. We will probably have interviews the week after. 16th, I think, is a Friday. And we'll probably set time for interviews that Friday. One of the things I would ask is that in the interview process, it is the Board of Finance's decision to pick the auditor. I would like to ask if if First Selectman would like to be in the process as one of the interviewers for who we pick.
If I'm available, yes.
What?
The 16th is a Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I leave for vacation for a week on the 19th,
Cancel your plans.
so that wouldn't fare well with our First Lady.
I stand sure.
We could fix that.
The other thing I would like to do is,
All right.
I would like to get two other members of this board, and I will, since Heather is not here and Ed is not here, I will have to poll them. But I will take, volunteers to see that would like to get a three-person board as it was 3 years ago, and 3 years before that, for the interview process. I will also email to Heather and Ed to get, if they're interested at all, but please let me know. So when we have the process, we want to be able to appoint, I think our meeting is the 24th of the
Yes.
month of June.
Correct.
And that gets us in. I've already talked to the state about, going past the May, file the form and list who your auditor is. They don't have a problem with it. Talked to a buddy of mine up at OPM. So we will be good to go. So if anyone has any interest, please let me know. Correspondence, I don't have any. Is anyone else in receipt of anything that we should know about as a board? Okay. In that case, we're at number 11, so I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for coming.